Good day and welcome to Lifestyle Podcast. My name is Arthur Mafokate and I'm chilling with Karabo Senna from Samro. Ladies and gentlemen. Hola.
My brother.
How are you?
I'm well, as always.
It's been long.
Very long.
Since day one, we've been saying, guys, when are we getting somebody from Samro? Can Karabo just visit us?
Okay. I'm here.
Why were you running away?
No, I'm not running away. It's just that maybe you hide well as well. The last time, I think, besides speaking on the phone, I saw you. No, man. Could be
years.
3, 4?
Yes.
Easily.
3, 4 years.
Yeah, besides telephonic conversations.
To think that I was working with you at some point.
Yes. And I'm sure we'll talk about that because, at a certain point, it was more like, no, not working with me. You're my boss. So say it like that.
I didn't want to say that.
You're my boss. So if obviously you're reporting to the board, I mean, come on, so anyone, if you're sitting on the board by virtue of that, it's like, no, that guy's your boss. So whichever way you look at it,
Whatever, Karabo. Karabo Senna.
Yes.
Strange surname. Omokai, Tswana.
Motswana. But there's, Botswana, there's always a mix between Botswana and Basotho, right? The surname is Sotho, but growing up, like Motswana.
Now, I always say Tswana, Sotho, Pedi.
Different dialects. Different dialects. So that's how I see. That's why Larry Kopani Rautlana. Wa fitla ga nna ke mopedi le ba ba go Pretoria ba bua mo di ashes tsa bone is like but
but it's one thing.
Come on guys, Rautlana. So that's what really matters. So
to those that don't know Karabo Senna, obviously some know him as a GM from Samro, but your upbringing.
Correct.
Yes. Where were you born and up to today?
So interestingly, I'm not from Joburg, and funny enough, people will tell, because I remember the first time, when you speak to people, just about 2 minutes, so I'm from Northwest. So specifically, we're in the Northwest, right? So Klerksdorp, but again, specifically, we're in Klerksdorp, it's called Kuma. So there's a Kuma. So Klerksdorp, there's Klerksdorp, that's what people know, but there's Stelfontein. Literally just away from Klerksdorp. So the location of Stelfontein is Kuma.
I haven't performed there.
People will know. So I grew up in Joburton. But so that's what, let's say the early years, up until 7 or 8. So, born and bred Joburton, but then moved over to Kuma. So Kuma is actually a mining town.
Yes.
So, back then.
Those small towns.
Yeah, but back then, mining, gold, what. Everybody wants to move where there's prosperity. So from around about 7, 8, that's when then I was, grew up in Kuma. But obviously from a schooling side, everything that side. So that's literally where I grew up until, let's say, one turned, around about 21. That's when 21, 22, that's when I started coming through to this side. But, my upbringing.
How did you come to this side? What are you here for? What are you doing? Relatives? Schooling? What?
Yeah, it always starts off the same, right? It's like, hey, Bafetu, you sit there and you're like, okay, you finish school.
Yeah.
And then, so when I finish school, it's about, hey, Karabo bua thata wena man. That's how these things start. No, maybe, so this is how it started. It's like, no, maybe you should go and study law. And family.
Why?
Family encourages you.
And they always say,
that's always the thing.
Lawyer,
doctor, maybe accountant, maybe.
And then, or teacher, next like.
It's like, hey, so now you never want to look at that. So it's like, no. So man, do law or something. So after school, that was the first thing. So I was like, okay, because, I'm that type of person. No, go and do a bit of law. So did law, I think I did 2 years, right? 2 years, but then...
Where are you doing law by then?
So UNISA, right? Okay. So I did law via UNISA. So, but funny enough, because UNISA was corresponding, so I'm busy working.
Because UNISA then it was just...
And let me tell you what was my first job, right? Because, I'm working, so it didn't just start off. People sometimes see you now and they're like, hey, no, we're now cheese boys.
More especially you. Many people say you're a cheese ball, but okay, continue.
I was like, what do you mean? You know, maybe get the skin type. I was like, I'm feeling. But for me, it's like, guys, my first job was, you know, that guy, the container.
Yes.
It's a Vodacom,
yes, when they were starting.
I was that guy.
Yo.
And then
Yeah.
2 rand. One of my uncles had these container things. So obviously you are done with school, you're sort of studying, and then I've always been entrepreneurial, like, you know,
Yeah.
money-wise. So it's like, okay, no man. My grandfather says, no man, come, keep yourself busy, come. Yeah, it's fine. Then I went there, and that's what I did. You know, so, and it was okay.
Yeah.
You know, and
it was fun. In fact, you know, I always say to people, entrepreneurship starts then.
Thank you.
You don't start late.
Yes.
It starts then when you're starting to sell those hot cakes and
My
apples,
brother, I was
chips.
selling sweets at school now.
Just like me.
Trust me, I was selling sweets, and people.
Now, I started selling sweets, ne? I don't even know if you know standard one.
Don't worry.
Exactly, standard one.
Yeah.
That's when I started
you
my
started
business.
early.
Yes,
Yeah, you
I
started
started
early.
early.
Nah, high
from
school.
standard-
High school,
No,
that's when
not
I
from
started.
standard one.
Okay. No, because I understood the principle. Listen, take care of the cents and the rents will take care of
Yeah.
themselves. You know, so this thing, people think one day you'll just wake up and I don't know, you make a lot of money. It's like, no, it doesn't work like that. Start here, and that's where I started. So at school, I was selling sweets. You know, then thereabout where there's an opportunity. My mother was always. I mean, my family. I come from a family of, you know. I mean, my parents never worked from maybe when I was 7. They always had businesses.
Oh, yes.
So I don't understand the nature of, hey,
Being
I'm
an
going
employee.
to work. No. So I've always been, since 12 or so, I'm doing something in the family. Hey, my man, we've got a shop. You must do that. No, we've got a salon. You must do that. Hey, Nining, bottle store. You know, so you're
Yeah.
always, so in that you learn, oh, okay, I see how money works, right? And one thing I learned, and I always tell people nowadays, and it's like, especially even the modern day generation, they don't realize that. You know, I learned that not caring what people think is a superpower.
Yeah.
Another thing,
Yeah.
when it comes to making
Yes.
money,
Don't care
don't
what they think.
Don't care.
Focus.
I'll tell you a nice story. So we had a farm, right? So, but not a big thing. Like, you know those farms, like, yeah, your parents bastatanyana da. And here's the crazy part. So we had pigs. And we had to go and obviously the pitlo and all sorts
Yes.
of things and mesebetsi, and then you would go and drop off this container so that when people and then you will come and pick them up. So I would actually go with my father afterwards and go and pick this up. And one of the
when
things,
you were proud of your
my
dad.
man, yeah, no, but
Because you can see he's
when
driving
people look
around.
at you,
But people.
Bona. And then one day, remember, I went to school and then Kahopula, this guy. Exactly that. And I was like, this guy. But then.
And I would be that kid in there.
Jeez, man.
Coming from a very poor family, ne?
Yeah.
But I would still tease people like you. Because you know.
You know what I mean? And then, but I had to learn that because then speaking to my mother, hey, we see this guy, but why does it bother you? What yes. You know what you're doing. Okay. So, and this thing pays for your school fees, this thing pays for
Look
1,
at
2,
your
3, 4,
clothes.
5.
The very same people
Thank
that are
you.
teasing you are not wearing the same shoes
Thank
that you're
you.
wearing.
Thank
they
you.
don't have shoes at
Yeah.
school. That's why I was saying I was one of those kids because I grew up not having shoes most of the time. But I was always that one that teases friends,
So
you know,
no
with
see,
friends.
no,
Yeah, no, I was just this naughty kid. I had to find something,
Yeah.
you know.
So for me, that was one of the things I think that built my character to say, you know what, dude, you're gonna do uncomfortable things, and as long as you know what's the plan at the end of the day, whoever says what, leave that guy alone. Because especially if it's somebody that will never even give you a rand. I can't even go to that person. So why should I care about your opinion?
And most of the time,
You know?
you're the one that's buying them lunch.
Thank you. So for me, that was it.
So then how do you move from trying to be a lawyer to...
Yeah, so the biggest thing that happened is that I got a job. So I got a job in a call center, right? So, and obviously the talking thing also helped, right? Because now I got a job in a call center. And as I was working, the thing then happened where, hey, now I'm making money. You know, you get that salary now. Now I'm like, ish. yeah, no, man, you know, the opportunity is here.
What kind of job is it then?
This was in a call center, so I
Okay.
was actually taking calls.
Oh, yes, yes,
Yeah,
you
so
just said.
Vodacom, taking calls, speaking to you, hey, Mr. Mafokate, da. Customer care, right? And I was good at it,
Yes.
trust me.
But where are you doing it from?
So I'm doing it from Joburg. So that's when I moved over to Joburg.
Okay.
That was my first formal employment, right? Where I can say, yes, you know, I was employed, I'm earning a salary, that was it. I got a job, so Joburg, yeah, you know, taking calls every day. But then I started
Inner city.
looking. Yeah, inner city.
Yes.
So a Jura building.
Yes.
So Fox Street, that's where we were. So it started off in Bryanston, but we moved that side. So I started looking at this structure because that was the first time I was introduced to this corporate structure to say, okay, fine, but hang on. How does this thing work? You know, because my mind thinks like that. So
Yeah.
no. So
Always
for me to
curious.
get there, what do I need? For me to get there, what do I need? And now I'm engaging with these guys, you know, the guys that are obviously senior to me, but I can see, no. You see this law thing? It don't buy this.
Yeah.
And the most depressing thing was, you know, for you to be an attorney, you need to go and do your articles. At the time, I remember the government, because I read on Sunday Times or something, they were looking for article clerks. The salary was 4,000. And I was already making more than 4,000.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh,
Is this the law they're talking about?
I was like, how can I go backwards and then earn 4,000 for 2 years?
Yeah.
And these guys are going to expect me to wear a suit, look nice for 2 years. And I'm already making more than that. And Kimo call center. I'm like, no, this thing is not for me. Because now my thing was always about, Emuna, you must make money.
Yeah.
So this thing of being glamorous and what do I like, when I just make the money, it's okay. So that's how it happened. Then that's when I ditched the law thing. I was like, no, let me ditch the law thing. Took a bit of a break of maybe a year or two. And then that's when I moved to the business thing. Then I'm like, no, now I'm going to go and study business because I can see for you to get to the top, you need these business qualifications.
Yes.
Go and do that.
Yes.
And literally, I was still in the call center, but, you know, I worked so hard in that I started moving.
And people don't realize that these business courses actually transform you faster because they give you a leadership role.
Yes.
People don't understand because you are choosing yourself as a business person.
Correct.
As compared to somebody that says, I just want to be maybe a receptionist or whatever, you know, but you are already positioning yourself as a business person by studying business.
Yes.
Because you are saying, I need to lead.
Fantastic. And I think what people need to understand, everybody in their business, they want somebody that adds value, right? So
solve problems.
Solve problems, yeah.
Yes.
Come here and add value.
Yes.
Right? And there's never, we always say, yeah, but mole a vacancy. But I'm going to tell you something. Any business, for as long as you're going to come and add value, there will always be a vacancy for you.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. And the biggest value can be information. It can be you coming in with a different set of skills that improve something, like innovation, or you being able to make money, having a skill where somebody can say, hey man, this guy, he sees things different. And,
sales.
You know, sales.
Yes.
So come with that skill. Any business will accommodate you. There's no thing like a vacancy. But you see, the problem is that the system makes you think that no, vacancies, but in reality, that thing doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist. I always say to people, think like a CEO.
Yes, a vacancy is created by someone. Somebody wakes up one day and says, you know what, I think we need somebody to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because in their minds, they see that if somebody does that well, it will add value.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can create a vacancy by coming through and saying, but nah, this is what I can
contribute.
Do.
Yes.
And people can take a chance on you based on, obviously, now what your history says. And people say, okay, let's see. And that's partly what happened to me in the call center space, where people are like, okay, dude, let's see. Let's see if what you are saying can really happen. And that's when you get those opportunities, right? And the nice thing is that people don't mind seeing you fail. You know, that's good as well.
Yes.
So as long as enough always treated failure like, no, my man, it's one way of learning how not to do something. So don't be so caught up emotionally. It's like, no. So people be like, no, dude, you are willing to risk it and fail. But when you do well, hey, no, man, we can bet on this
And also
guy.
it gives you experience as well.
Thank you.
So then how do you then elevate after those courses?
Yeah. So you know, one of the things that I identified, I remember once, so then when I was in the call center, I moved. So I did call centers for about 7 years or so. Then I moved, and funny enough, I went to an industry that, it's like from call centers, I went over to tolling. I went at the e-tolls.
Yes.
I joined e-tolls in literally end of 2010. So I was one of the first guys that was setting up the e-tolls thing. Yeah, I know a lot of people be like, Karabo, yes, see this thing, I already e-toll. So before people even knew these gantries came. But when I got there, I worked with one guy. And I mean, this guy opened up my mind because he said to me, listen, dude, you know, with every single person, there gets to a point where you hit a glass ceiling and you need to make certain decisions about your life. And at the time, you need to make a decision as to what works, what doesn't work, what will make you get to where you want to. So at the point, I was sort of like, okay, studying, but you know, sometimes you study, but you're not serious.
Yeah.
Like, I'm studying, and then I'm like, no. And he was like, no, dude, you've got potential. But where you'll end up, you'll decide. So that's when I got really serious. I was like, no, man, you know what? Let me take this thing seriously. We are school, you know? Then I was like, okay, dude. So I was busy with a bachelor's in business administration. I was like, no, do this thing, finish it. Finish that thing.
Where did you study?
So it was at Regenesis Business School. So that was my first school. So I like learning from different people. So I'm not that guy ordering, no, Nakia, go vets. And I stay go vets. It's like, no, man. The point of learning is not the degree. It's actually experiencing
and
different
getting
people.
That document that gives you direction. And then you also come with your own input. Regardless of institution, you also have to assist yourself in achieving the goal that you want to achieve.
So that was always my thing. So no, man, I want to. So when I moved, so after at Regenesis Business School, so I did that, bachelor's degree. I was like, no, my man, you need to upskill because, I could see there were opportunities, but it's more like if, I'm going to tell you, the market is weird. The market, you could have the skill, but sometimes they want to see something. And sometimes corporate respects a piece of paper.
Yeah.
So you need to
Unfortunately.
you need to understand how the game is played. I don't care what you think you are. They're like, Emona, where's that piece of paper that we need? So, I got to understand that, no. Sometimes there's a game. You can criticize the game, but there are rules to this game. Understand the rules so that you can navigate. And that's all it is.
Honor and respect them.
That's what education is. That's what the corporate system is. So do that. That's when then I went to Monash. So Monash was doing a postgrad in corporate governance. Because I could see where I wanted to go is like, but hey, this governance thing, man. So it's not somebody board it. Like, no, man. I don't understand this thing. I need to understand because there's a thing that I want to achieve, but if I don't understand this thing well, I will not be able to achieve that. So then I went there, I did that. But funny enough, so this one, I don't think I've shared it broadly much. So when I was at Monash, before I was accepted at Monash, I actually applied to 2 schools, right? So I applied to Wits for a BCom honors in business science, and then I applied to Monash. So it was like, that thing.
Yeah. Whoever, yes.
And then after that, like, no, but they both accepted me. So I was like, okay.
You had to choose the one that you think would
fast
track.
But guess what I did?
Yeah.
And then I'm sitting there, I'm like, aye.
Yeah. You accepted both.
Yeah, I accepted both. Because the one, Vets was over 2 years, Monash was over 1 year.
Talking about that, that's what I did as well. Because I was at Damlin doing high diploma in business.
Sure.
And then I started going to Vets business as well at the same time. In fact, that's what I did as well.
I was like,
because somehow they fit to each other.
No, this is, I remember my wife was like, hey, no,
yes.
Don't worry. I'll manage this thing. My brother, it was a lot of work, but I got it done. So in that 2 years, 1 year I finished off on the one at Monash, and then I also finished on the BCom honors at Wits. Then afterwards, I was like, hey man, I've been doing this school thing for a while. But I was like, no. Finish it off. Took a break of about 6 months. I was like, no, man, dude. But when I finished off at Wits, I was already at Samro. So I was at E12 for about another 7 years or so. Then I moved over at Samro. So I started off at Samro 2017. So I was like, no, you know what? I'm here, but let me solidify this base so that when I move from this base, I can target other things.
To those that don't understand what Samro is,
yeah.
Because now we're
We're getting to
where
I
we
am
wanted
now.
to get
Yeah,
to.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
What is Samro?
So simply, Samro is what we call a collective management organization.
CMO.
And the simple thing that it does is that, think of it in this way: musicians create music. Music is an asset, right? It's not tangible, it's intangible, but it's an asset. And anytime somebody uses this asset, they need to pay. So it's the same as somebody now, you've got a house and somebody wants to rent it. That house is an asset, it's a piece of asset, and anytime somebody uses it, it'll battle the rent. So music is the same thing. So what Samro simply does, and Samro works the same as other international, what we call PROs, performance rights organization, because they are focused on a performing right. So all Samro does, they license this piece of music, this asset. They go out there, they license it to a Pick and Pay, a Checkers. Because, we all go shopping, we never think, we hear music. Like, but, okay, how does this thing work? We license that. Radio plays music. How does this thing, work? We go, we license that. TV plays music. We go, we license that. There's now streaming. There's also YouTube and the like. So we go, we license all these platforms that use other people's assets, because that's what it is. That's what music is.
How do you license it?
And that's a good question, because the simplest thing that I do when I moved, because Samro started.
Because I'm trying to understand.
Yeah.
You go to Samro.
Yes.
How do they identify you? How do they say this man can actually be the one that takes us there? Because when you got to Samro, you started breaking records. You started achieving things that were not achieved prior to you being there.
Yeah. No, thanks for that. So remember, but when I started at Samro, I first started on the membership side, right? That's how you and I met, obviously.
Yes,
so I firstly started on the membership side. So I did that for a solid 5 years, I think, so on the membership side. So firstly, Utla, that's where it's hot, right? And I know the other side is hot, but membership,
Because
no. I mean,
two wrangles.
Dealing with artists is a different ball game. If you think customer service, come this side, right? I always say to people like, no, mo ke to hana ANC. It's like it's every
hectic.
day. It's something. And you don't know which email is gonna come in today. That's just gonna mess up your day. So I started that side. So obviously, it gave me a good foundation. So I think for me, it would be very difficult to do what I do now, to say I'm in the licensing side, just before I tell you how I sell the music, without understanding. Because when you deal with members, there's a different level of appreciation. Trust me. Like, I've dealt with queries from you, so like there's that thing that that, no, man, I know what those people deal with.
From a low-performing artist to a high-performing artist.
Everyone, yeah. So I've dealt with someone that earns a cent, literally 1 cent. So where this person is frustrated, where's my money? And I've dealt with somebody that
I heard my song 7 times on radio.
Thank you. And I've dealt with someone that earns 3 million in that year. So there's a spread in between. And also publishers. So you tend to understand, you say, okay, this is what music really is. Now, what I identified when I went to the other side, right now, the selling of it, to say, no, now you have to go and sell this license. I picked up that corporate, because now I'm dealing with a B2B, because that's who we sell to. It's to other businesses. Corporates don't understand.
There you were dealing with members.
Yeah, there
now it's B2B now.
Now it's B2B. It's a different conversation.
So that's when the education comes in now.
Correct.
Yes.
But even with members, because there's a certain level of tolerance that you need to have when you deal with members. But firstly, I want to say, I think my upbringing helped me more to deal with the members.
Oh yes, because you were selling, you were dealing with problems, customer care.
Yes. You see, udula ko bottle store, and dealing with all sorts of people. Next thing we'll go shop on you. That helped me more to deal with members.
And that drunkard comes there. He needs his alcohol. He doesn't care. You must make sure he goes out smiling so that he comes back.
Thank you. So for me, being able to sort of like just take from that was, I was able to deal with anybody because I can relate. So you come point I can relate with you to
And
some
Karabo, my interview is going to be boring because it's business based.
No,
you
and
know,
I'm happy
because
with that. Yeah.
I want people to understand that things like Samro are a
Yes.
business.
It
Being an
is.
artist
It's
is
a business. Yes.
Doing music is a business.
Correct.
You know, so I want them to understand why you're sitting in the position that you're sitting in.
Sure.
Because people think, oh, lo muntu akareleasanga next.
Just
But he's dealing with our things. Guys,
No.
nothing for us
No.
without us.
No,
You know,
no, doesn't
so I
work
want
like
us
that.
to unpack
Yeah,
the
yeah.
business side
Yes.
of these things
This thing,
so that we
yeah.
understand why.
Yeah. No, and I appreciate that. So for me, understanding obviously the musician, it was very important because when I went to corporate, I could understand that corporate, when you say music, my brother, people will tell you like, but my man, I pay for iTunes.
Yeah.
No, I pay for Spotify. So in their minds, if I plug in this thing there and I'm playing it, why should I pay you? You know, they don't understand. There's the law, but we all understand that, I mean, you do business,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
Whatever the law, it's a piece of paper, that thing. You know, but now my objective is to make money move from your pocket to the Samro account. That's a different conversation. And people think I can
So when
just
you're
go
dealing
there.
with businesses,
Yes.
what do you say to businesses as Samro?
My biggest sales pitch for me is changing the mindset. I don't even call it music. When I go to somebody, because the way I thought about it, I said, no, man, but hang on. I compared it to insurance in my mind because to sell to somebody, I need to bring something to the known. So if I want to sell you something, I must move from the unknown to the known. I cannot sell you something that you don't understand. I can't. It's a challenge because you are faffing around. So now I need to bring it to the known. The easiest way is I thought of insurance. I said, no, but people, all businesses buy insurance, right? And they don't even think about it now. They just buy this thing. And how many of us, I mean, you've bought insurance for your car and maybe you never even claimed. But you were okay paying it, nonetheless.
And you don't even complain.
Exactly, right? So it's like, no, but music, I must link it to that. But then I added another thing. My thing is, don't call it music. Call it like exactly what I used, the word I used initially where I said, call it an asset.
Asset, yes.
This thing is an asset because business people don't associate with music. But if I say an asset, it's a different thing. Now I'm like, so this guy now says,
It's not fun because before it was fun.
Thank you. So I'm moving it from something where it's about entertainment and fluff. It's like, no, I'm here representing, owners of assets. That's what music is. And your utilization of those people's intellectual property and asset means that now it creates an obligation on your side.
And business people would understand that better because remember, they know that they also have brands. There's a new brand.
Okay, now I get you. And it's like that. It's like if you were to license a brand or you were to license, you know what I mean? They understand licensing of products and those sort of things. So in them, I was like, okay, now I get you. I get what this thing is. And I always say to my team, right? And I've got a small team. I've got a team now of about 25 people. Even though, we do these numbers, but it's a team of 25 people.
No, but that's why you're achieving these goals
now.
It makes sense.
Yeah, so we're not big in the licensing or sales department. And I say
so
to my
some
team,
of us are lucky to be dealing with you direct because you could have still said,
like, no,
that's
go
so
to
nice.
that guy.
Yeah.
So, but what I focus on is to say, I always tell my team, guys, you know that you're onto something when you move the guy from asking you about the concept to talking about price. I always say that. That's always the objective. I don't want, while you and I are still talking about the concept, I know we still have a problem because that means price is far. The discussion of price is very far. Once you understand the concept that, okay, I accept, I need to pay for this thing. And not about, I'm not making it about what the law says. The law is one part. But nobody will ever give you, this is South Africa.
It's about the emotions, it's about reality, it's about...
This is South Africa. People
responsibility.
they don't just wake up and say, the law says I must go pay my traffic fines and I'm going to pay them all today. It doesn't happen. So that's reality, right? There's a traffic fine. The same guy I'm speaking to, he has a traffic fine, but I'm sure he hasn't paid it. So why would he pay me? So if you think of it like that, you'll see that, no. I can't just say the law says. There needs to be more than that kicks in. So then that's why we need to move him from conceptually, understand that it's not just music, it's an asset. And this asset, it's licensed to you by virtue of you using it. So now we need to make sure that the owners of this thing, they get paid. And that's what we are doing here. That's the discussion. From that discussion, we are able to move now to say, okay, I hear you, but now how do you price this thing? Now we are talking about a pricing model. That's different. Then now that's where we maneuver.
We start
now. Now we unpack this thing. That's where we maneuver. And I mean, we've got our prices. It's not simple, but the basis is that you get people to understand. They will complain, just like anything. But somewhere a person understands, like, okay, I get it. So then I'm able to pay what I pay, And, loosely, that's why we were able, the moment I moved over to licensing, we're able to start exceeding. Like the first year we did about 93, we increased revenue by 83 million. That was, Yes. Samro, before, we were lucky if revenue went up by 20 million. Like, guys, okay, we've done well. So increasing it by something like 80, that's like, okay, fine. It's going in the right direction. And then the next year we did about about 92 million. So it's the direction is we are going in the right direction. Not that there are no issues. Issues
and
are always there.
Talking about increasing it by 90 or 80 million.
Yeah.
What would be the norm if there were no increases like that per year?
Sure. Yeah. So the biggest impact,
because people must understand that music,
yes,
is business.
Yeah, it is. It is. So, if we do not increase what we are able to collect, firstly,
what's the average?
Yeah. What we need to understand is that music, South Africans enjoy music, whether in corporate, whether personally. That's firstly a good thing. So music is part of just, doing business or just being around in South Africa. If we did not improve what we are offering to our members, because our job is to offer the best value to our members, that's purely it. And as much as I'm one part of the cog, right? Obviously the money has to be paid. I only have to bring it in. It means that what artists will see, they will see the royalties being reduced greatly. As I speak to you now, the last time I checked, artists that earn, and I'm talking about people that earn just above 1,000 rands. I'm not talking about a lot of money.
Yeah.
Somebody might say, because, social media, I hate social media for that, because artists sometimes create this thing, this image, where you are like, no, these guys are making a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I want to put it like this. Guys, there is not a lot of money in the industry as people think. Yes, there is, but it's not as much as people think. Right? And from a business standpoint, I'm not saying somebody must not come into the industry.
Yes.
But when you come in, you must know that it's not easy. That's all I can say.
There's competition as well.
Yes.
There's a whole lot of dynamics that led to you now going to businesses to go claim their monies and all those things.
It's not, but the most important thing is that it's not easy. Don't see Arthur Mafokate and say, no, that's me. And music, and I'll come back to the Samro question now. Music is the weirdest profession because I've dealt with members. It's the only place, and I'm not lying because I've been in other industries. Music is the only place where you find a guy who is 21 or 18 coming in today, and in 3 years he wants to make 3 million, 5 million, and you're like, my man, in which business does that happen? Like let's be clear here. It happens nowhere. Mm-hmm. But only in the music industry, somebody has got that expectation.
Yes.
And if it doesn't happen, it's like, I don't know, something is wrong. It's like, no.
And it's not just an expectation, there's a bit of entitlement as well.
And I do see it. It's like, no, but my man, it happens nowhere. Why in music do you expect that to happen? So coming back to the Samro part, you will see people earning above 1,000 rands. We are talking somewhere in the region of about 10,000 musicians, give or take, where they're earning above 1,000. Now, you and I can agree, you cannot take care of a family from 1,000 rands a year. So musicians that are making money where they're able to sort of sustain themselves, technically we are looking somewhere in the region of about, and when I say musicians, I also include production music, not just, the people in the commercial space, Technically, we are talking about probably 1,000 people in reality. And now if I tell you how many members Samro has, we've got about 160,000 members.
What?
Yes. And growing.
What?
160,000 members. So now you sit and you're like, but Karabo, hang on. Whoa. How do you have 160,000 members, but you sit there and say, people that can make a living, where somebody says, okay, this art can feed me, right? And obviously pay school fees, do whatever. We are probably talking easily 1,000 people. And I want people to understand that, so they understand that music is not easy. Don't come into the music industry and say, hey, no, because you see these big numbers. This guy, they're posting this, and it's like, no, my man, don't do that. And in business, there's a bias that's called, I think they call it supervisor bias, where survivor bias. Survivor bias. So survivor bias says somebody makes a determination by only looking at the winners.
Oh yeah.
So I go and I interview Arthur,
Yes.
I interview Casper, I interview, whoever, and I say, yeah, you know what? Based on those guys, if I do 1, 2,
My
3, 4,
value
5,
is-
yeah, I'll be like them. Like, no, my man, it doesn't work like that. Because you never spoke to the guy at the bottom. Right? Because for you to be fair, speak to the guy at the bottom and the guy at the top, and you realize that, hey,
It's not the same.
it's not the same.
Yeah, because it's tough.
Yeah, and that's what guys do in the music industry. They look at the winners, the guys that manage to, just succeed. And they say, no, because that guy could do it. Arthur started from, like you said now, he was also, I started from the ground and he did this. And it's like, yes, but it doesn't mean that it will happen to you. And that is exactly the bias that I'm talking about, survivorship bias.
And apart from, dealing with those B2B businesses, is there any other form of making that money? It's through those ones only, because they are the ones that are using the asset mostly.
So there are mainly two forms that Samro uses to make money. So the one is licensing, and I'll tell you the 5 categories that are obviously prominent for us. The first one is broadcast, right? Broadcast is easily about 53 to 55% of revenue. So meaning, even though we are focused on streaming, if your song is not playing on radio or TV, you are missing a chunk of the royalty revenue. So that's what it means. So as an artist or, and a business person publishing or whatever, you want your music to still be on the normal radio and TV, right? The second one, then, it will then go into what we call general. General is like the music I said, you walk into Woolworths, you walk into whatever, you hear this music. That is general licensing. But you will see in Samro, general is paired up with radio, because you will notice when we distribute, we say radio and general. So we use radio as a proxy for general, because sometimes you don't have the usage. So general, we are talking...
But wouldn't somebody say it also falls on one, which is broadcasting?
No, it is. It falls in there. But the 55% that I spoke about, right, it covers the general part. So
but with... Oh,
yeah,
okay,
it's part of
okay.
it. Yeah. Then from the general part, then we move over, then we say, okay, fine, there is obviously the digital part, right? Digital is growing.
Yes.
And when we say digital, we are not just talking about the streaming platforms. We are talking about also the VOD platforms, your Netflix, your Disney, your Amazons. And then after that, we're talking about the social media side, to say there's TikToks, your YouTube and so forth. So that, that comes your Facebook. They also form a nice basket to say you need to have content in there. So that's growing as well. So there we're looking about a 12 to 15%, right? And then from there on, we also have foreign. We never think about it. But foreign for some is not a small pot. I mean, when I talk about foreign, percentage might make it seem small, but it's somewhere in the region of about 40 million rands. So it's not small, right?
It's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah. So your music playing overseas, it still, commands a certain, and obviously there's also the exchange rates and so forth that benefits you. So from our perspective, I think, broadcast, digital, foreign, those are the things that, you need to look at. And we always strive to make sure that people are fully aware of this basket of what it is that Samro does. But then the second part, besides the licensing, Samro makes money also from investing the money.
Oh, yes.
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 You remember the big conversations that we always used to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, so investing the money, because remember...
Because some would say, why go invest our money?
Yeah, but that's because that person then they're asking...
But let's first break it down so that they understand the importance of that.
So remember, money has value. So meaning, that's why if I give you a rand today, it's not the same as you giving me back that rand a year from now. That rand has lost value. So the first thing that you must do whenever you run a business is to make sure that this rand, either I sustain this rand's value or I increase the value of this rand. Because every day we get money. As I sit here, we are still busy, right? We are closing deals, we are wrapping up things. So every day there's money being paid to Samro. So you can't just put it in a bank while you wait for a distribution. No. This money needs to be invested so that, firstly, you retain the value of the money. Secondly, you try and increase it. So, those that have been in Samro for a while would know that we've had long debates about NRR and GOP. So non-royalty revenue, that was actually interest, that's what we called it, and GOP, grant of rights payment. All of that came from literally just interest. Even now, Samro still generates revenue from interest. All it does, it will take that money, the interest money, and put it into the next year's distribution by increasing it. So you'll see even in our financials, we'll tell you how much we made out of licensing and how much we made out of what we call other business, which is mainly the interest, And then lastly, obviously, Samro has a building. So the building at the Jura, not a Jura, I mean Samro de Corte, Samro owns that building. So we obviously lease to other tenants. So Samro is able to make some, revenue from there. But that's not, obviously, if you look at our financials, that's not really a big revenue spinner. So the biggest one, obviously, it's the licensing and then the interest from the money. Yeah.
That interest is one of the biggest revenue spinners.
It does. I mean, if you look at Samro revenue, imagine we generate somewhere in the region of about 700 million in a year. So, I mean, all of us, we don't have to be creative. But if you take 700 million, you put it somewhere, it's going to make some money, a couple of millions, right? So that is obviously the revenue that we're talking about. And the idea is to always make sure that this money is obviously adding value. So when you pay to a member, the member gets the benefit at the end. That's always the idea. But at the same time, the objective of Samro is also to continuously sort of like decrease what we call the admin, fee. So decrease that. So you would remember Samro used to be high there, almost in the 40s, and then we've been continuously working on decreasing this admin fee. I mean, we are in South Africa, we don't know, but if you just go outside of South Africa, like you go to Botswana, you go to Namibia, Zim, and all these other countries, the admin fee of those societies, we're talking Boma 70%. Seriously, 60, 70%.
What?
So meaning, if this guy collects a rand, you get 30 cents.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, you went. What is this? But Samro has been very good at decreasing this, because now we are sitting at about 23%, and the objective is still to get to 20.
Not supposed to be 20?
That's the objective. So according to CISAC,
no, but I'm talking about even legally.
No, so there's two parts to that. Currently, the only societies that are that need accreditation are the Needle Times societies. So in in South Africa now, we are talking about SAMPRA, IMPRA, and Bogoto. I think Bogoto also does Needle Time. So those ones.
So Bogoto is just focusing on Needle Time.
Yeah, my understanding is that's what they are focusing on. So those three need accreditation, and legally you are correct. They need to be at 20 or below. Okay. But the PR society, which is Samro, and mechanical rights, which is Capasso, those are not actually governed by the same
Bound by
legislation.
this,
Yeah.
yes.
So for them, it's more like you're an NPO, both of them. So you manage yourselves, right? So it's not there yet. However, to your point, CAB, right, the Copyright Amendment Bill that's coming through. Obviously, it's not yet passed.
Yes.
But if that is passed, automatically, it will be law that you need to be at a certain point, so 20% or lower. So at this point, it's not there. So we know that. It's not like we are not aware of that. So that is
Hence,
why
you've been preparing yourselves.
Yeah, we are preparing ourselves.
If it means you cut down on certain
hundreds,
niceties, you start doing
whatever it
that,
is,
so that by the time
you are good.
They crack the whip, you are ready for it.
You are ready for it, yeah. Because it is going to come, and it's to the benefit of everybody. So, CAB, and the one thing I've heard people say, societies don't want CAB, because people will pick and choose, like, no. There's a lot of good things in CAB, but there's also other things that are an issue,
Let's break them down so that
Yeah.
somebody understands what's CAB.
Yes. So one of the biggest ones, right, the biggest fundamental challenge is the concept of fair dealing and fair use, right? That's one of the biggest things that we are worried about. So the difference between the two, fair dealing is what we have now.
CAB is Copyright Amendment Bill.
Yes, right? So it's supposed to now take over from the current copyright bill or copyright act that we have. So, and remember, this is an old act, 1976,
Yeah.
so it's very old. So yes, we need something more modern. But the problem is that fair dealing says, listen, there are only these few exceptions. I think there's about 3 exceptions. So your music, so I can take your music and use it maybe for, let's say journalistic use. Somebody's commenting on your music. It can be used maybe in a court setting, right? It can be used maybe for some educational purposes. And that's it. But anything else, you must pay. So fair dealing is very clear. So nobody can just take your music and just use it. A brand takes your music, uses it, and then that's it.
But give examples of those 3 that you said it could be used for. The journalistic, in which sense?
Yeah, so
As
journalistic.
in reporting.
Yeah, reporting. Somebody can report on your work, so based on the fact that, let's say there's like in this sort of setting, there's
Music can be played.
Music can be played, so it's okay. It's like, okay, it's part of this conversation. It's for just reporting purposes or current news or anything of that sort. In court, obviously, if somebody wants to play your music to prove a certain point, whatever that point is, it can be used, or maybe in parliament, right? Somebody can use it. That's fine, right? And then the last one is maybe for educational purposes. They can take your lyrics and say, no, man, there's something.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, like that first album, it's a
Yes.
classic. It was banned. And, this album, certain things. And then they say, okay, let's play it for you in class so that you understand what was
And
what was
they
the
don't have to
anger.
pay for those.
But it's also limited, and I'm going to get to that. It's a good
Yes.
question. They can speak to that. Yeah, you see, this is why that song, that Gaffer
Yes,
song,
yes.
this is why it was, this song became big. But guess what? We have a license that speaks to schools. But now, remember, school plays rugby, they play soccer, there's a Valentine's ball, there's a matric ball. It's like,
All of them play music.
but these are not educational.
Nice.
That we license.
Yes.
Right? And there's a big thing we're gonna come out with. There's gonna be a media briefing sometime in August, where I've just closed. Obviously me and my team, a nice big deal with a massive educational institution that has a lot, like represents thousands of schools for the licensing of those schools. So we're gonna do a nice thing in August, so that we share it, and to show you that we actually, do license educational institutions. So,
And TLL has got the scoop. Yay!
so it's coming. It's coming August. So
Yes.
August is going to be a nice, briefing, and then you will see it. Like, okay, it's a couple of millions, which is good.
We are
right?
invited, right?
We'll invite you. Yeah. I'll speak to the marketing team. So that for us it's big. We want musicians to earn, but we don't want you to just use their music outside of the law without paying. But then this is fair dealing. Fair use. The problem about fair use is this. Somebody can use your music and then say, no, you need to prove. So imagine, I'm a brand. I use your music.
I hope AJ is listening,
And
because
I say,
just this week we were debating about this.
okay, and then I say, you need to prove that I use your music inappropriately. Now, we all know, firstly, not every single artist has money to go to court. Secondly, even if you have the money to go to court, how long will that thing take? Easily 3 years, 4 years, because music, you can't go and deliberate on music at a lower court. You need to go to a high court.
Yes.
Any conflict,
Yes.
you need to go to a high court. That's expensive. Even if you have the money, you're still gonna, find a judgment 3 years later.
Yeah.
So it's only gonna benefit a few. And our view is that the few that will benefit is actually the major conglomerates. When I say major conglomerates, I'm talking about more on the social media side. Those are the people that will benefit because music will be used and they will not compensate you. And that's where the problem is. So that's the problem, the biggest problem that we have. Another big thing that...
So fair dealing
and fair use
is easy
it's
to
easy.
understand.
We are happy.
But fair use says, we are going to use your product as much as we want.
Uh-huh.
But do they pay or not?
It's based on how technically they see it. They see it.
They decide whether they pay you or not.
It's like me going to a restaurant and then eating the food and then determining if I want to pay.
If it was tasting good for me or not.
Yes. Think about it like that. Because it's like, no, my man, hang on. It doesn't work like that. Because it's too broad. There's no clear exceptions. It's too broad.
But there are countries that are already practicing fair use.
So the States, America is the dominant country that practices fair use.
Why?
Because for them, if you look at the American legal system, it's totally different to ours.
It protects the artist.
And it's very punitive.
And it's
in America, you can get a judgment that is obscene, that you will never get in South Africa. Let's be honest. If somebody now uses your song, let's say you're in America and they are found wrong, a brand, they can pay like tens of millions of dollars.
So South Africa is worried because we don't believe in our justice system.
We can say we believe in it, but we think that for this, it will not work. It will literally cripple the justice system to a point where even the owners of the asset, which is the music, will end up not even pursuing these matters.
Because we will spend time in courts.
Yes. And you will end up just leaving it.
So saying you don't need fair use is also protecting the little monies that are in people's pockets at the moment.
Of course. It's always about that.
But in America, it works because of the justice system that's ready to handle such
that's
things.
ready to handle it. And it's very aggressive as well at the fact that if they find you in the
Tell
wrong...
me, so the artists do get their monies?
In America?
Yes.
Yes, they do. So in America, remember, America, there is a higher punitive system. So meaning, you know that if I'm found doing wrong, yes, my penalty will be massive. In South Africa, I know technically I can take a chance. And imagine they find me doing wrong. Maybe it might be, I don't know, 200,000 or so. You might have spent way more than that.
What if the president signs the bill and he promises that he will adopt the American punitive measures?
The challenge is that to reform that system, it will take forever. Okay. And in that, the harm that will be caused will be immense. Right?
Irreversible.
Irreversible. Because of, you are here today, and we might not be here 20 years from now. But then, by the time they get to it, you know, your kids, you've lost out on millions. So
Europe is practicing fair dealing.
Yes. And remember, our legal system is aligned more towards the European system. Yes. And we are saying, no, there's no need to change it, especially where it works.
Why even change it, if I may ask?
We don't understand that. And that's the fundamental problem where we've been saying, but who came to you? Whether from the music sector, whether from the hospitality sector, whether from the broadcasting sector, whether from any sector, and said, this thing doesn't work, so change it.
But the majority of people in the country have voted for the ANC. And the ANC says fair use. Okay. And then on one hand, EFF, DA, and a few others didn't get the majority of the votes, but they're saying fair dealing.
Yeah.
And you have the whole industry, the majority of the industry in South Africa, saying fair dealing. but they voted for the ANC that says fair use.
Yeah, see, that's the conundrum. And I think sometimes that's where we don't vote on issues sometimes, right? Because votes are linked to many different things. You know, if I vote the ANC, I vote for them for many different things. Maybe for me, it might be I want my mother to get a pension.
But your bread is buttered on fair dealing.
Correct. So and we know it's not only artists that vote, but obviously for those artists that voted for obviously the majority party, and the majority party says, guys, we are going that way. But on that very same token, let me add this. We've had meetings because I mean our consultation processes for us as well as Samro are still, you know, alive, where we've had meetings with the ANC. So meaning us meeting at Luthuli House and saying, guys.
Recently, there was another meeting as well.
Yeah. So
still dealing with the same issue.
Same issue, right?
I led a march.
I know.
To the ANC. I led a march to say no to fair use.
Yes. So the weird thing is that when you go to Luthuli House, there is an ear. They say, okay, we hear you and we understand your points. And actually, we will convey it to the minister, because when we sit there, we sit also with advisors of the minister, not just, you know.
But the question for an ordinary musician that voted for the ANC is, why didn't they come and listen to me before voting against me?
Yes. See, I think there 100% I agree with you. To say that should be the first thing that happens. Part of the consultation, it should have been that when did you consult the creative sector on this very same point? Because it's such a big thing. It's a massive change. Only for us to be involved when this thing is already sitting at the president's table. And now he's sending it back and those sort of things. That's not the idea. So
and luckily the president said, wait a minute.
Send it back. Yeah.
Yes. Because the president could have signed.
He could have.
Twice he's postponed this thing.
Yeah, he could have. So and the problem
sometimes
is,
we need to also acknowledge the president.
That he did.
You know, we need to acknowledge the president of the very same ANC.
Yes.
We need to say,
he pushed
thank you, President, for waiting a minute so that there's a debate around this thing.
And he's had meetings, and I know there's been different meetings where he has met with the creative sector, right? And I note that when I say creative sector, it's not only musicians, because I know people be like, hey, Karabo, you're only speaking on behalf of musicians. Yes. What about the actors? Yes. Because that's also the other angle.
And
right?
Which is where it's dangerous, because the actors, I think theirs is the performance bill.
Performance bill, correct.
You know, so it favors them.
Yes.
And we are they fuse them together.
That's where the problem is.
And then that creates a problem, because South African actors are saying, you musicians are delaying us.
Yeah. You are
because
getting your royalties, you are happy, but you are delaying us.
You are delaying us.
Yeah.
Which is a dilemma.
And it is. And we are saying unbundle the two, right? So if one has to say, okay, Karabo, what is the action? Simple. What do you guys want?
Separate the two.
Separate the two.
Let the actors get their money.
Yes.
Because every time actors are dying,
you see,
we point to one issue.
Correct. So yeah, we want the actors to get their money. We are happy with that. But do not tie up the two. So separate them so we can deal with this one separately. So you can go ahead and approve. You know,
does the law allow them to unbundle?
Yeah,
them?
they can.
So why are they not doing it?
I think obviously with anything, there's always other ulterior motives. And that's what we are trying to get to the bottom of. To say, but guys, you can unbundle the two. So yes, there are certain acts and so forth that will reference each other. But unbundle that, because they were not always together. The performance bill is a new bill. Like, in a sense, it was not there since 1976. Yeah. So it's like, no, but this one is new. This one has always been there. So just do this one by itself so that the actors can get paid while we deal with this one. Because this one still needs some panel beating. We can't have it the way it is. If you sign it now, it's going to affect people's daily bread and butter.
But what if we, the ones that are saying yes to fair dealing, are missing a certain point from the ones that are saying yes to fair use?
So,
and if so, what would that point be?
The only thing, and I mean, I hear you. The only thing is that those people that say yes to fair use, in my view, they have not conveyed a strong enough sort of view that sells us on the economics of it.
No, it's a strong view because the ANC voted with them.
Yeah, but that's politics. There's a difference between politics and the money. And I'm not talking money where two key businesses are going to benefit. No, I'm talking about people that created.
But why would the ANC vote with fair use people, but we still don't understand
I've heard
the value of fair use in South Africa?
I've seen certain, sort of views where it is put that certain people were lobbied, obviously, because there are people that will benefit, which normally we call them the super users. The super users will benefit greatly if this thing is left to just, fair use. And when you say who are the super users, we are more speaking on the social media platforms. They would benefit greatly. So the narrative is that, hey, you know what? Those are the people that, there was obviously a lobbying that happened that moved the pendulum to say, oh, maybe just adopt this American sort of like
we
system.
As TLL are on social media platforms. Mm-hmm. Fair use would favor us more.
No, it will affect you because if the music on this platform, on TLL, is your music or anyone, that is part of your team, they created the composition and now they want to earn royalties because as people watch it, whichever platform, YouTube is obviously the biggest platform, that music is supposed to generate a royalty. Now, imagine that royalty is not paid over. It creates a problem. So
where does it sit if it doesn't get paid over?
It means it starts with on
Is
our
it just
side.
Free use like
Yeah,
the term?
it's almost like somebody just uses it, and after that, when we go and try and license, they will firstly start negotiating the licenses harder, to say no. Certain content here is more educational. So meaning freely, openly educational, because somebody can call this educational. Let's be fair.
Yes,
It
is educational.
It is educational. Yes. So somebody could say, no, I can use your entire content, literally this, and use it anyway.
But fair dealing accepts it.
Within a limited range. Because
what's limited?
In fair dealing, one has to, and you can't use it in its entirety, for example. Somebody must take certain snippet. Like, it's more like, no, you can't just take this guy's program. Next thing you see your show on, I don't know, CNN or somewhere.
The whole show.
And
they say it's educational.
And you're like, man, I own this thing,
But it's educational.
Because you are spending money, let's be honest.
Yes, a lot of money.
Whole thing,
yes.
You are spending the money.
Yes.
But imagine some guy in the States takes this thing or he puts it under his own YouTube channel, right? He takes it from you.
Yes.
He puts it there. This thing generates crazy. This thing, 100 million streams. And you're like, but this is mine. And they say, no, my man, it's educational. So it's okay. That guy can take it away from you. That's wrong. That shouldn't be.
Wow.
Yeah. So besides the music, just the ownership of the content. You own more than the music. You own the concept, you own the content. There's a lot of IP in all of this. You own the visuals, you own it, it's yours. Why should somebody just use it and say, no, it's educational? That's wrong. That's how far it goes. Yeah. So for us, we need to make sure that that does not happen.
And for a young musician that's out there, and they're sitting here listening to me and you talk about Samro and a whole lot of other CMOs, what would you say to them about the importance of organizations like Samro?
Yeah. So firstly, I would say that, any musician, as long as you create music, you're a performer, you need to be a member of these organizations. It starts there. Because without you being a member of these organizations, you'll be shocked. And let me give you some numbers so that people can understand what I'm talking about. And I know you are quite familiar with some of these numbers. What we call undocumented works, so meaning money that Samro has sitting there, we don't know who it belongs to because either one, the data from the broadcaster is bad. So I'll make an example. It's an advert for BMW or it's music is used in a show. They don't have good cue sheets or they didn't provide the owners of the music for a certain advert, for example, or somebody did not submit, the notification. So meaning, yes, you are a Samro member, but you don't tell us that that song is yours. We have just over 200 million rands sitting there.
Let me ask you a question,
Yes.
and I've asked somebody
Yeah,
from
yeah.
another CMO before.
Yes.
I have performed at some point 15 years non-stop. 15 years non-stop every weekend.
Yeah.
And I don't remember submitting my gigs. What then happens in that situation?
So that is part of the live distribution.
Yes.
So the way live works, so currently our live is about, let's say, 10 million rands, right? That's our live. So in
Also,
that,
live doesn't really generate a lot.
no, it doesn't generate
It's
a
not
lot.
like undocumented.
No,
Okay.
no. So in that, we expect you to submit those set list, what we call a set list. You do it online through the portal. If you don't submit it, unfortunately, you would not get paid for that distribution.
So it passes by.
It passes.
So meaning my whole career, I've lost on that live revenue.
Technically, yes.
Yo, that's it.
So yeah, technically, yes. So because then we only pay
But then the
ones
question
that-
is, I didn't know. And many others out there. So how do we educate them?
yeah, that it's part of these sort of platforms.
Yes.
To say, listen, guys.
Now I'm speaking on their behalf
Yeah.
because the same problem that happened to my career is going to happen to them.
somebody else.
Because imagine how much revenue would have helped my career
Of
had
course.
I submitted.
Of course.
But I didn't know.
Yeah, and every cent counts, right? It doesn't matter. Somebody can even look at you and say, no,
Yes.
but you're successful. It's like,
But
every
it's
cent
15 years of
counts.
my hard labor.
Correct. So
Not that I'm doing it now.
yes,
It's still
yes,
not happening.
Yes. So what is important firstly is that we always advocate that every single artist, wherever you are performing, do engage with the promoter and say, hey, Mona, is this thing licensed? Artists never ask that question as well. And that's a fundamental question.
You'll lose a gig.
I know. And that's the reality on the other side, right? Because somebody's saying, hey, my man, this guy just paid me my 20,000 or however much for my performance. So I'm not going to ask too many questions. I get there at the time, 8 o'clock, I perform, I leave, I go to my next gig.
But how do we solve that problem?
So that problem is, we are trying to solve it more on the business side, especially on the promoter side. Promoters are going through a very tough time as well. I mean, let's put it out there. It's not like it's easy being a promoter. I know promoters that are even losing money, right, on certain
I'm one
events.
of those. I complained when you charged me. You remember you charged me? Guys, I've never paid. Guys,
I remember.
Can't the promoters go through this thing?
Yeah, I remember.
And that's when I realized you are doing your work.
Yeah, no, for me,
Because
it's like,
I didn't inform you I was doing a gig.
Yeah.
But you picked the phone and you said,
Yeah.
Night with Legends.
Yeah, like, no.
How much are you paying me? That's when I said, hey, guys, we must stop advertising gigs.
paid.
If you run, yes, I paid.
You paid.
And I'm still going to pay. This year I'm doing it
Yeah,
again.
you see?
I'm still
Nice.
going to pay. But
Yeah.
I'm trying to also educate people.
Please,
Because people
yes.
must understand, yes, we do cry, but
Yeah.
there's a need to do
There's
these
a
things.
massive need.
Remember, I'm sitting here with you to also educate myself as much as we help others out there.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, so artists need to make sure, that's what we are pushing to say, guys, we're trying to promoters, make sure that you license your shows, right? It starts there. Because only licensed shows, somebody can only earn royalties from a licensed show. So meaning if an artist performs, it doesn't matter how big or small they are, right? It can be it can be whoever. You might decide, I'm going to promote some young guy and say, dude, let me give you just 2 minutes. Just do your number there. That guy submits a set list. Because you license that particular show, this person will earn a royalty from that.
At least.
Done. Right? So that's where your money is going. To say, okay, no, it's fine. I understand that. And we are and the promoter space is very tricky because there's all sorts of new ones coming up. And people think there's a lot of money there. And yes, some people make it, but
some don't.
It's
Most of us don't.
It's cutthroat.
Yes.
It's cutthroat. So I deal a lot with the promoters and I understand. But we always advocate that. But also as an artist, submit your set list. Go into the Samro portal, submit it. We see a lot of
Regardless.
artists, regardless, submit it because you don't know as well. Some people go and perform literally even at La Parada or wherever. Those things are licensed.
But let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
You know, there's two questions I need to ask you. The one
Yes.
about the undocumented, we'll
Yes,
come back
yes,
to it.
Yes.
Most of the gigs in this country are done by DJs.
Yes.
DJs play a lot of people's
Yes.
music. And DJs don't pay license fees. And DJs don't see the need to submit those lists because they are not playing their music.
Yeah.
How are you dealing with it as Samro?
Yeah.
And we love our DJs, by the way.
No, of course. I mean, South Africans love their DJs. So that's a big problem, and not just from a Samro side. So currently, I'll tell you what we're doing currently and what we're looking at doing. So currently, firstly we do license DJs, but obviously it's not all DJs are licensed. So, and the license is cheap. The DJ license is below 2,000 rands. Like it's not, it's not expensive for a year. I'm not talking about a gig. So a DJ is licensed, but the biggest problem is that set list. Because even if you have money, the issue is not sometimes having money. It's who should I pay it to? And correctly so, not just by the way.
But I'm saying I'm a DJ, I'm playing somebody's music. Why should I submit that list?
Because you can't benefit. So you can't benefit from, it's almost like in academia where you reference. The fact that I'm
So who must submit that list?
The DJ. Because the DJ is gaining a living from somebody else's creation.
Yeah, but there's no law enforcement towards the DJ
That's our
to try and
challenge.
tell you that they played somebody's music.
Yeah.
And for them, it's a waste of time.
Yeah, and that's really the challenge. And I mean, we haven't had a specific lawsuit, related to a DJ, but that is really where we need to be moving towards. Obviously, we're trying to educate as much as possible, but from an enforcement standpoint, we are still tweaking that because DJs, if we were, you and I just, talking and teaching people to say, guys, you are benefiting from somebody else's creation. The least you can do is to actually recognize them so that they can get paid. You play this at a club. A club is licensed. You need to submit that set list. Because you submitting that set list, we will be able to pay the creators of that work that particular royalty.
Just look at it as a CSI, as a DJ.
Yeah,
that
like
these people
it's admin.
help
Do
you.
your admin.
Yeah, they help you.
Yes.
Make your career
Make your
successful.
money.
So can you just also
Yes,
contribute to them?
Yes, it's part of the admin.
And for a person like me who's never submitted for his gigs,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Where does it start? How do you educate them? How do we educate people? Because they're losing a lot of money.
Yeah. The first thing is, for me, I will always say that go onto our platform, so Samro platforms. It's the easiest thing. Follow us on the different platforms. Go and watch the videos on YouTube that we post. And there's different people as well that create content, and I've seen some good content coming through lately where it's like, okay, they'll walk you through even the website or the portal to say, hey, this is where you go. And I think that's the easiest way because that's how people learn nowadays. Everything is more about short format or watching something on YouTube that suits you. So go on there and watch. And that's the easiest way to learn, okay, fine, this is where I load my music. And, then you start in that way.
So Samro also has those short format videos.
We do have those short format videos so that you're able to watch, gain that little bit of knowledge, and then start implementing.
You spoke about undocumented
Yes.
monies that amount to 200 million.
Yes.
What then happens to those amounts of monies?
Yeah.
It's big monies.
Yes.
And, you have places like Sampra where they have the Sampra fund
Yes.
that people can apply
Sure.
and get the monies and use them for other things.
Yeah.
What
happens
does
to this
Samro do with that money?
So for us, what we do, so from a Samro process, we have a process we call it the right back process. So simply what it means is that after 3 years, so we try and obviously identify who this money belongs to. After 3 years, if we can identify it.
You failed, for an example.
Yeah, right? We take the oldest amount, obviously, on the 4th year. So assume it's 50 million. We take that, we add it into the distribution. So we actually increase.
It gets shared,
It's
by
shared
all
across.
others. Okay.
Yeah, so for us, the way we looked at it. And
So
it
we
doesn't
all
mean-
take the blame for chowing that money, not just Samro.
So that's how we looked at it. So for us, we said, listen, we're not going to benefit 1, 2, 3, 4, or 10 or 100 people. So instead, you share it across. So everybody now gets a little bit more from that, whatever 50 million that was split across. Yeah, obviously, one can always raise the issue to say, yeah, but if that guy earns more, you will get more of it. But that's how life works, unfortunately. You know, sometimes people people want to be unreasonable when it comes to, I don't know, to Samro. It's like, no,
Because
but guys,
you basically prorated.
that's all. We're just prorating this thing and saying, guys, there. So if you want to earn more, just make more then. That's it. You know, yeah. It's
You
life.
once said a certain phrase, don't let your music die broke.
Yes.
Please break it down.
Yeah. So, you know, coming back to the concept of seeing music as an asset, my belief is that music goes a long way. And I'm going to tell you this because people will see it. I mean, one day people watch this thing. You will even see one day your music, people will come to you and say, hey, can I get a sync? Right? And now, I mean, some music, when did you start recording? Like, I mean, the top sort of like big selling albums. Those ones.
30 plus years ago.
People used to go and Andrisa Plus to go and you were performing there. I was still young, but I know I had an aunt. And now we go Andrisa Plus. What do you
I performed next to Andrisa Plus not so long ago.
Yeah.
Yo, the memories, guys.
Yeah,
Yo,
no. I mean, I remember those
I
days.
performed next to Andrisa Plus on the 1st of Jan. Like I was there. I was like, yo, guys.
So people will still come to you for a sync. So I always say that music has got longevity because you know it's your life plus 50 years posthumously. So meaning, treat this music, give it that because you never know what this music can become.
Yeah.
And I think there's value in that. Even the day you are gone, your music will still be generating revenue, you know, because it goes to your kids, you know, nothing is lost. And you and I also know that something else where I need to just plug this. Samro also has SHREF, the Samro Retirement Annuity Fund. So currently we have funds just over 380 million rands. So meaning we also create a provident fund for, you know, creatives so that you come, you retire, you know, and then from there on.
And then when you retire, what happens? Because at some point, I remember I was offered, it was I think 500,000, right? And they said, do you want to take it or you want to leave it?
And
I said, leave it, right? And then after a few years, they said it disappeared because the rules changed.
No. So how it works, the way the fund works is that you stay in it for as long as you're a Samro member. So the only time we need to push you out is when you get to 75. And it's a legal requirement, it's not us, right? But
so are you saying that it's there, it's been growing?
Yes.
And how do I know about it if I want to find out?
You should actually be getting statements, right? You should be getting statements. Yes. And a simple question is you can just send an email and then you
get the answer.
And I mean,
so Samro is there for people.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we have just over about 11,000 people on SHREF. So they've got a retirement annuity. And I mean, this is a retirement annuity that you never took money out of your pocket to save for. But you can go and say, hey, guys, give me my money. And then that's your
like
retirement
right
annuity.
now?
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, what if you die before it
goes to
matures?
your kids. Yeah, it goes to your kids. So SHREF. So I sit also on the board of SHREF, right? And one of our functions is to make sure that if today Arthur Mafokate is no more, his SHREF allocation, number one, it needs to go to the right people, right? And by the way, musicians, make sure you have wills, please. Please. We have a lot of problems.
Yeah, because it's a problem
we have
not having a will.
a lot of problems with people. There's no wills, and then we're like, you know. So,
as black people, we're scared of wills.
No, I know. We get
yes.
the
and it's a necessity.
It's a necessity nowadays, especially the moment you have a bit of property, and music is a piece of property, so have a will.
It's an asset.
It's an asset, that thing. So then next thing, if you do pass on, we make sure it goes to the rightful dependents. But we also make sure that even your music, like the ownership of your music, we transfer it so that the royalties, as they're generated, they go to the rightful parties. So that's the function that we do. So we don't just stop just because, oh, now you are gone, you're no longer our members. Like, our job still continues.
There's a lot of criticism towards Samro recently.
Yes.
Where is it coming from? And, you know, others would say because there is more interest in CMOs, they are now competing And one might say others want to take over because now they realize there's money there. But from your perspective, why such sudden criticism to Samro when it's the only organization that's doing what it's doing in this country?
Yeah, so firstly, from my sense is that there's firstly politics in anything, right? I think it would be naive to sit here and say, there's no politics if nobody has an agenda, right? So there will always be an agenda in anything. And what makes organizations like Samro more turbulent is purely because of, for you to be a member, the barrier of entry is low. Let's be fair.
Yeah.
It is.
It's like almost nothing.
Yeah. So it's nothing. It's not like
Naledi there can go join now.
It's not like a company where you need to go and buy a share.
Yes.
Right? There's a barrier of entry.
Yes.
So because of that, now you are bound to have a lot of sort of like shuffling because of that sort of situation. But yes, at the same time, members can also maybe question some decisions that are made. Remember, that's why members are the most sort of senior authority in terms of Samro. Because it's members, board, and then management. That's how it works. So members need to keep the board in check. You know, it's common sense. It happens in any company. So if maybe the board also makes a decision that the members don't like, that should happen. You know, in business, some people, it's often called agency theory. You know, to say no, there's always this balance that needs to be maintained. But at the same time, the politics of it also create a lot of friction. And I always find that, I remember when I joined Samro, it was those days, and you were still on the board, it was those days of EMRO and whatever. Yeah. It was hot.
Yeah.
I remember walking in and I said, hey, this company, bro. I was like,
I would always meet you in the lift and laugh at you that day.
like, hey, no, man, hey, no, it's hot here. But Samro has always been that. And I don't want to say it's Samro culture. It's not necessarily that. It is purely that it's a very... It's
highly contested environment because of the amounts of monies it also
possesses. And of course, yes, it's the biggest in Africa. Let's not... It's not about South Africa, no, in Africa.
Yes, Samro is the biggest CMO in Africa.
So already you can see what we are talking about. It's like, no, there is a lot here to be contested. Yeah, so it's not simple because everybody has an agenda.
You had a special executive meeting.
Yes.
And apparently, because I wasn't there, there were people that were forcefully removed. How true is that?
Yeah. So I don't think it was not forceful, right? There was a vote. So part of one of the things that was discussed in that meeting, it's the forensic that we currently have. So there was an audit that was done, you know, that was obviously, and that audit, by the way, it was Samro-led. So it's not something that came from the outside. So Samro identified some issues in terms of how royalties were being paid or claimed, and then we launched an audit. This audit then came up with certain findings. So, okay, fine, these are the findings. So this audit is about, let's say, 2 years old.
So you went back to report to members and the members had to make a decision?
No, the report already was done about a year ago.
Yes.
No, it was done about a year ago. But the issue was then where members come and say, but guys, hang on. There seems to be a level of conflict where some members have been indicated or cited on this report. And remember, it's also important for me to add, this report doesn't say somebody is guilty.
Okay.
They say, guys, you need to look deeper into. You know. Sometimes when somebody says, they say, hey, you know what? Yeah, Karabo. We're not saying Karabo took that cup.
Yes.
But his fingerprints are on that cup. You know, it's a different scenario.
It's vague,
but it's there. But yeah. So meaning you need to look deeper into it to say, did Karabo really take this cup, or maybe he just drank from it, and then when he left, Arthur came and he's the one that took that cup. So that is what needs to happen. But what was then discussed in that particular EGM, it was a matter of saying members felt that, no, guys, they don't have a level of faith in the process if those people, so Karabo with his fingerprint is still sitting on the board, right? So those people need to move. That was the vote. So it was done
What
through
was
a
the
vote.
forensic about?
The forensic was purely about royalties that were paid to people that did not own those works. So you could say fraudulently, right?
Was it fraudulent or mistakenly so?
See, that's what needs to be confirmed. So I can't tell you
Yes.
as well to say, is it by mistake? And I mean, you've
Then
seen...
why would you then find somebody guilty in a place which is not a court of law and make a decision against them? Is
Yeah.
that legal?
It will be challenging for me to say is
Oh,
it
yes,
legal?
in your position.
Yeah, in my position.
But I mean,
yeah.
from where I'm sitting, do you even have the right to, harshly remove somebody before they could prove themselves in court?
And that's a fair statement, because it's a matter of saying, guys, are you pronouncing this person as guilty, or what are you saying?
What if you realize later that they were not guilty and they've lost revenue, credibility?
Or even credibility,
Yes,
even if it's
that's
not
why I'm
revenue.
saying revenue, credibility, and more.
Yes,
Because it's emotionally draining.
Of course. And I think that is exactly what needs to be sort of settled, right? As much as in that meeting, decisions were made through that vote, but, it was, sort of stated, from the chair to say, hey, guys, listen, we're advising you of a certain process. But obviously the members felt very strongly to say, no, listen.
Secret vote.
No, it was not a secret vote.
It was raise of hands.
Yeah, raise of hands.
But does the Constitution allow you one vote, one member?
So ours does.
Because,
does.
Yeah. It got changed at some point.
No. It's still the same, but you start off by raise of hands. If, you have a certain number of members saying, no, we want to vote by a sort of like the ballot machine, then you can move to the ballot machine. But if you don't have that, then you can still stick to the vote of hands. Yeah, but I'm saying
Samro votes now.
Yeah.
Remember, at some point, they used to go according to revenue made. So now it's everybody's equal.
It still does.
Is it just one person,
but
one vote?
But it needs to be evoked. That's the problem. So it means that you start by voting by hands only if, enough parties say, okay, fine, no, we don't want vote by hands. We want voting by, sort of like a weighted average, like the weighted share. Then only do
because you know why I'm asking?
Yeah.
What if you get to a point where you forcefully remove the big earners and then they go and form another organization? I'm just asking this because we can be too many non-earners, 1,000 in a meeting, right? And 900 of us vote against something. And then that 100, that's actually making that 600 million go and form another organization.
Yeah. I think if one has to look at all possibilities, that's one of them, right? To say, guys, but you're not thinking of this possibility. And the problem is often in these sort of sessions, I mean, you've been there.
Yes, that's why I'm asking these things.
Emotions and whatever, whether one can say people are really being pragmatic, it can be questioned, because sometimes it's an emotional thing. No, we want to solve this and we believe this is the only solution. It's like, but no, hang on. Because what I can say with confidence is that the forensic doesn't say this person took that cup.
Hence I was asking whether were people found guilty. And if you're not found guilty, why be humiliated?
Yeah. And that's a fair statement, is it? Because at no point are we saying those people are guilty. We cannot say that up until that thing is tested.
But the members can then say, we hear you, but we also have our own right to exercise. We feel we don't want you anymore, regardless of that. Constitutionally, or the MOI gives us a right to remove you.
And that's where now you are in that in between to
regardless
say no.
of courts.
Yeah, it's like,
we as the members. Yeah, this is our organization.
We want to decide. Yes. It's ours. Yeah. So you can't come and tell us we are still finalizing. Only when it's like no, that whole principle to say, hey, listen, you are innocent until proven guilty. Somebody can still say no. For me, I feel that, and we see the word is I feel. When I feel, then
there's nothing you can do.
Leave it alone.
Yo, Karabo.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful interview. And but before you go, I just want to have fun questions with you. But they're a bit tricky. But I know you're going to get them all right.
Let's hear.
When you're not working, what kind of music do you listen to?
My playlist. Now I'll tell you exactly my playlist.
Yeah.
So my playlist, I've got a playlist for, I call it slow R&B. So I like R&B. On 90s, 2000, that's it. R&B. I've got ballads. Like I'm that guy. I will listen to Barry White and Luther Vandross, and then but I'll switch it up. And then I've got a playlist hip hop, like proper hip hop.
You become
like,
Karabo.
Yeah, like I'll be
the
listening.
other one is for the wife.
I'll be listening to like Bo Pharaoh Monch, Bo Dre, and you're like, yeah, my man. Like what the heck? Like I switch
That's
it
when
up.
you're driving out of the house.
Hey, there's always something that happens, and you're like, no, okay, switch it up.
Yeah.
And then I've got one where it's like old school. When I say old school, it's literally that classic white.
Yes. That era, that sound,
it hits. I was like, no, this thing. Not piano. There's no piano, nothing on that
Just
thing.
that raw sound.
That's that raw sound that I grew up listening to. So that's pretty much my playlist. And then the last one is so old school South African. So Bopa Hugh and you just need to just boop. Just so
once
that
in a while.
It's simple and then it's Sunday. Yes, that's it. That's me.
And then any other artist that I would be surprised to know that you also follow secretly.
That I follow secretly.
That one that even your wife is not even aware that you would. When you playing this one?
That's what I'm trying to think quick. But you see, I'm a big fan on the hip hop side. Obviously, it's more international. I'm a big fan of obviously Eminem, right? These are people that you grew up listening to. I remember when I'll be cleaning the house and my mother would be like, my mother was very worried to say, hey, you're gonna turn out to be something else, my boy, because of the music.
Sound, and it makes you bang your head.
Yes. Let me see. Locally, somebody that I'm just trying to somebody that I listen. I'm a big fan of AKA. Right? AKA.
Same here.
No. Listen, that chap I can listen to almost any album on levels or this or that. I'm a big fan of.
You seem to be. You see, okay.
Amanda Black as well.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Amanda Black.
I said artist. Don't mention too many.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You want to add?
That last album. Amanda Black.
Oh, yes. Amanda always works.
No, it's beautiful. Beautiful stuff. Yeah.
You are passionate about empowering artists.
Yes.
Who inspired you?
So I think for me, it's not, this thing didn't start when I joined the music industry. It started from literally normal corporate. I think certain people took a chance with me where, you would ask and they wouldn't just
throw you out.
Yeah, somebody be like, okay. And then they will try and impart, Yes. So that in itself, and also I'm firstborn. When you're firstborn.
Firstborn are not really.
No, but now the firstborn syndrome, you deputy parent, so you're always teaching.
Oh yeah.
So I've got a younger brother and a younger sister, so you're always teaching. So that also comes in. But I think I'm gonna tell you something. I think when I retire, so when I say I'm leaving this thing, my passion has always been to teach. Funny enough, but I always said,
I noticed ever
others.
since we started the interview.
Yeah.
Remember when I said I'm also educating myself through you?
Yeah, no.
Because this is one of the best interviews I've enjoyed.
No,
because
I've
I
got
learned
a passion
lot.
for that. And I like being challenged. My type of teaching, whatever. It's not me telling you what I know. Like no. Question me so that I also think and say, but hang on, you know what? I'm also learning from you. So that's my type of engagement. So I enjoy those type of environments, and I can see myself, very soon saying, no, man, I'm doing a course on and again, I'm teaching at that business school there. And I want people to challenge me, but to share as well. I'm very passionate about that, and I see myself doing that all the way,
So my answer would be the parents, because you're a deputy parent.
Yeah. Deputy parent.
Okay. This one must be quick, ne?
Okay.
Ne?
Yep.
Which one earns you Samro royalties? Live performance at a club, radio airplay, background music in a shop, all of the above?
All of the above.
Got it right? What's the correct meaning of the acronym Samro? A, South African Musicians' Rights Organizations. B, Southern African Music Rights Organization. C, Southern African Music Rights Organization.
Hey, the B and C sounded the same, but it's Southern Music Rights Organization.
C is the right one. Yes, that's C.
Yes.
How often does Samro pay royalties to its members? Once a year? Every month? 4 times a year?
We have over 26 distributions, so we pay almost every month. We pay.
No. It's 4 times.
No, it's that's good. You see now you are learning something.
26 times.
Yes.
How do you do that?
Yeah. So you.
I thought you pay per quarter.
No.
Okay, tell us.
No, other societies do that.
Yes.
So like if you go maybe like a Sampra or a Capasso, they'll pay per quarter. Samro, we have about 26 distributions. So if we go to our website now and then you go under schedule, you will see all those distributions. And you just go and you count them.
Samro rocks, Mus.
And then you count them. So you will see like, oh, okay. Yeah, so some people, depending on what you do, you might even get, I'm not saying it's always a big check, right? Some might be, okay, I got
but
1,000.
it's a payment.
Yeah, some I got 20,000, but it's a payment.
This one is the funniest.
Okay.
If Karabo could choose one artist to perform at a Samro event, who would he pick?
Hey, maybe, I don't know, Malum Cool Cat.
You are done. You said one.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Malum Kulket. Which song?
What's that? What is the title? Three or what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as it's
yeah,
Malum
yeah,
Kulket.
yeah, no. I think it's just, it's one of those rappers where you sit and you're like, hey, this chap, see if this guy, I know that thing, Australia, whatever happened, but it's like, hey, this guy could have gone far. It's like, yeah.
The last one.
Yeah.
Finish the sentence.
Yes.
The future of South African music is
creatives working together.
Wow.
That's it.
That was a beautiful interview, Karabo.
Yeah.
Any last words?
On my side, I think it's just a matter of saying, as creatives need to work together. We always look at sports and we say, hey, it's organized.
Yeah.
But the same can happen here. And it's
going to happen.
It's going to happen. But the problem is that creatives want to outwork each other. That's the biggest fundamental problem we have. Everybody's a superstar. You want to outwork each other. How about Mamela out here? Mara, this guy has seen things that you've never seen. This guy has met people you've never met. This guy can take you down a path that you will never, ever think of. But no. They want to do it by themselves, and that's the biggest problem.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Karabo Senna.
Thank you.